What's going on, guys? I'm Ryan Bossery from Rywire, and I wanted to introduce a little YouTube series where I actually end up doing a little rehab on my daily driver S2000. Rywire is a company that you guys hopefully know of. We do a lot of motorsport wiring harnesses, little kits of certain types, some electric car conversion stuff, and I've been in the industry now for, our business has been online as a website since like 2004. So been in the game for a long time. I've been having a lot of fun doing this, and I want to do a little bit more serious YouTube where we actually do a deep dive in a build. And it's not an electric car this time, it's actually a gas-powered car. So a lot of people will probably be intrigued by that. Oh God, he's going back to gas. But really, I just want to give my daily driver S2000 a second chance at life. It's been a great car to me. It has like over 200,000 miles on it. The engine's still super healthy. It's just getting old, and there's better options available. And I want to show you guys what those options are. Let's take a look what's under the hood currently, and then we'll get to what's going to be under the hood after that. And it's locked. And I don't have the keys because it locks itself. Boom. So it's actually pretty crazy that I've kept this car so stock for owning it for so long. And it's just original. I drive it every day. It's tons of fun. But if you could tell, it's very, very sad. I don't even have an intake on it. I literally have no mods. It's a ton of fun like this, but I feel like it could be way better. It's gone through very little maintenance, hasn't really needed much. It leaks a little bit of oil on the gaskets. It's kind of dripping a little bit in my garage, so that kind of sucks. But it's your pretty much run-of-the-mill S2000. It's the AP2, and it's the drive-by-cable version. So it's the 04 is the year. The 04 and the 05 are arguably the best because they're not drive-by-wire, but they have the larger displacement engine, so it's a 2.2 liter. And this one still drives really strong, but yeah, definitely needs a refresh. If you could tell, the headlights are pretty rough. Some fitment issues here and there on the bumpers. I've hit debris on the road a lot. I'm also planning on probably doing a little paint refresh on the car too, because you know, while I'm there, I may as well. But I will tell you guys this, I don't plan on doing any crazy wire tucking. I'm not gonna, you know, hide the battery. I'm not gonna tuck the fuse box. I really don't want any of that on a daily driver. And I feel like doing stuff like that is an enthusiast build. It's a weekend car. It's something that you're always playing with. I feel like this S2000 is literally what I use for driving to the shop every day. And it doesn't need a brake line tuck or a wire tuck because it's a functional, purpose-built, you know, car. And I think that the factory components are more than sufficient. And I think that maybe it's just that I'm getting old. I don't really care for that kind of stuff on a car that I need that's critical to get me from point A to point B. So just to show you guys a little bit more about like some of the other S2000s that we've built and stuff that I own. This S2000 is actually full electric, and you could tell that by, you know, the batteries and everything's in the front on this car, the electric motor's in the back. This car was kind of all redone and rehabbed. Obviously, you know, this was like kind of a SEMA build, if you will, and something was pretty cool for me to be able to showcase my work. But yeah, overall, just a clean car, just a build I kind of wanted to show you. And then there's another car that's actually conveniently here that I want to show you guys as well. And this is Angel Ramos S2000, which we built many years ago, and it was actually kind of in paint jail for a while, and we got it back from paint jail. And so what I have to do is I have to clean the fuel injector system. So it's back here because, as you can see, it's a beautiful engine bay, and this has a top feed injector and a lower port injector. And E85 have been sitting in the car for a really long time. So I got to clean the injectors, I got to go through the fuel system, I got to make sure it's healthy so we could start this engine back up and get it back on the road. So these are just some nice examples of S2Ks that I've built in the past. And so to kind of foreshadow what the next build's gonna look like, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. All right, so this is the engine that I ended up selecting for our S2000 build. This is a Honda HPD K20C1 engine. So this is a kind of like the newest, greatest of everything. It's got a turbo on board already fitted. It has modern, coil packs. It's got cam control solenoids on both sides. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's direct injection. It's the newest cream of the crop K series, if you will, that Honda's producing. And I was able to actually source this from HPD. One of their resellers was Science of Speed. And Science of Speed is where I started looking for even greater opportunities, because I found out that they have kits specifically for this engine into an S2000. I don't want to take the time to create all this stuff bespoke for one car when they've already done that for me. I want to stick to what I know. I like plumbing, I like electrical, I like computer components. I don't necessarily need to be handcrafting a downpipe or engineering, an adapter plate for the transmission for this engine on an S2000 gearbox. Those are things that Science of Speed already did for me, for us, for the community. So I feel like, why not just use this opportunity to work with them, fit a brand new modern engine into my S2000, and get all the cool upgrades that this engine actually has. So all the modern things that I was kind of talking about, one of the really intriguing things that I like about this engine is that it's direct injection. So what that means is there's actually injectors up under this manifold that are high pressure, and what they're going to do is they're going to actually feed the fuel straight into the combustion chamber, actually below the valve. Now what that does is it creates a really good atomization process in the combustion chamber, so that high pressure fuel injector, much higher than a port injector pressure, is going to give bigger opportunity for engine tuning, and you can make a lot more power with DI. So that's a really cool thing that OEM manufacturers are now doing, is they're doing direct injection. But one of the biggest drawbacks that I know about direct injection is it's hard to upgrade the injectors if you're going to go with a bigger turbo and a better engine management system. But also, it's the top of the valve gets very dirty because the injector is a cleaning solution, because that gas is a cleaner, natural cleaner, and that's going to actually be below the valve. So what Science of Speed has done, which I think is really cool, and I've actually already installed this component on the engine because I honestly couldn't wait. I was way too excited to even I opened the box and I'm like, I got to put this on right now. So this is a kit that Science of Speed makes, and it's basically an adapter plate that adds port injection on top. So it's using DI, but it's also port on top of it. And it's taking this intake manifold, it's actually flipping it around. Factory, this engine has the throttle body on this side. And what this adapter plate did was it took this plastic intake manifold and it flipped it this direction. And then they also give you a little adapter plate to flip the throttle body back to the proper facing. So this is like a flip over, and then this is another flip over. So right now it's in the configuration in my S2000. The front of the car will be here. So the intake will come in that direction. You guys would be like the headlights of the car looking at this engine. Hot side's now flipped. It's on the driver's side, which I think is pretty cool. There's actually a lot to it, but I actually think that the hot side being on the driver's side is actually an upgrade. So that's kind of nice. But what I want to do momentarily is actually fit some of these Science of Speed components on this engine. And yeah, but I wanted to introduce this engine. I wanted to show you guys the technology that it has. It's got a really cool wastegate actuator on the turbo. Super, super new tech. So it's awesome to have this new technology into an older S2000. I think that Science of Speed is really onto something. I hope you guys like this kit and potentially think about this as an upgrade for your S2000. It's quite expensive, but you're getting brand new everything. So let's bolt some parts onto this engine. All right, so this is what I got from Science of Speed. Let's just do a quick walk around and introduce some of the components. And let's start over here with the downpipe. So this is a downpipe kit. It looks like it will bolt straight to the turbo, no problem. It's got a bung for the O2. It's a slip fit at the bottom, so these two will slip together, and then it goes straight, bolt on straight to the cat. So I like that because I'm still gonna run a cat. I totally want to keep the emissions and stuff in check. And yeah, it has a bolt on straight there. It's easy. And then they also give you a factory Honda heat shield, which my engine didn't come with. So it's pretty cool that I have like a nice heat shield with a Honda red tag on it. Over here, we have, this is the actual adapter plate. So I'm gonna be running an S2000 transmission on this. And as you could tell, this big beefy plate is gonna basically adapt our K20C1 engine and starter to the S2000 transmission. So this is really nice. I mean, clearly that's a big hunk of billet, super pricey piece of metal to like waste all this section, but this is what you need to get the job done. And then there's like hardware and stuff in those boxes. This is the cooling solution for the water neck and thermostat housing. So basically what this is, it's gonna eliminate the factory thermostat water neck, which is really large and actually will encroach a lot into the firewall area. So what we want to do is slim that down and then basically just simplify it for the components that we're actually running. So these are the big water lines, smaller water lines, coolant sensor, water goes in, water comes out, some barbs, and then there's an inline thermostat that we'll actually use, and those are in these components, which is going to be remotely mounted like on the frame rail. So that's kind of how this part is. To go along with the transmission stuff, this is a flywheel. So this is a big beefy flywheel that has the right offset. I probably won't take it out. It's about that thick, and it actually will give the transmission and engine like an OEM fitment. So that way the transmission is going to sit with the clutch and everything in the optimal exact OEM location. So our shifter is going to be in the same spot, everything. So this kind of fills in that void between the engine and the gearbox. This is an optional piece that I elected to get from them, and this is just their high performance. I forgot what it's called. I don't remember the name of it. I want to say something 400 or something like that. Upgraded clutch kit. So this is just your typical clutch kit. It's got a disc, pressure plate, alignment tool, all the goodies, easy to install. And then this is a really cool upgrade that I ended up doing. Definitely you don't need to do this if you're doing the conversion, but I mean, when in Rome, might as well just go balls to the walls. So I ended up getting the V-mount kit for the radiator intercooler setup. So what we have here is a radiator. I don't know much about this radiator. I don't know who makes it. It looks like it's a dual pass. You could tell because there's a split right here. So the water will come in, it'll flow across, down, and then back that way. It looks like it's decent quality. I wish it was a CSF product, but I'm not really sure. Maybe they did make it private labelly, I have no idea. But that's a cool radiator that's gonna it's gonna be on the bottom, and then it's gonna be V-mounted with this intercooler right here. So this intercooler is gonna set basically, I think it's gonna sit about like this. Throttle body is gonna go here, and then the turbo side's gonna go here, and it's gonna sit probably at an angle, I don't know, I think like that. So front of the car will be that way. Throttle body will be right about there. So that it gives the V, so that one comes down, this one comes up. And it's definitely probably more of a race application than I need for a street car, but I thought it was really cool. And like I said, when in Rome, just do as the Romans do, I guess. Okay, air filter kit. So this is the intake pipe, cut to length hose, and instruction sheet. So one thing that's really cool, I actually like pulled all the instruction sheets out already, but like all these are super nice and they have like really good step-by-step instructions. So most of you guys would say, I know how to put on an intake, but if you like look at this, it gives you a lot of detail, and I learned a lot from actually reading the instructions, so that's pretty cool. 3, 4, 5, I think it's only 5 bolts holding this on. It's crazy because like everything is brand new. So this is like very interesting to work on because it's literally a fresh crate engine that has 0 miles on everything. So when you cross thread it, that you know it's you that cross threaded it, not somebody before you. Fucker. Whew. All right, so this is the really complicated thermostat housing, and we won't be using this anymore. I think that the only thing that I sourced from this was the water temp sensor that was right here, and that got switched over to right here. Oh, I do need this gasket. I gotta switch that gasket over to here. To be gentle, so I don't have to replace this, because it is brand new. Okay. So the instructions said to use the original nut, this original bolt, and then 2 supplied bolts for the added width on this. And then put this little M6 back on this side. So the things I notice are these barbs. I had Teflon tape here. I'm gonna redo this. This Teflon tape is like not working out. So I'm gonna get some goop, some actually like putty for those. So I'll take these off, put these back on. And then these water ports are a jam nut. So how it works is you can loosen this jam nut back and then you can turn this guy. So I'm basically turning it into position, and then I'll tighten this down when I find my actual like exact fit in the car, because these might be like a couple degrees down or a couple degrees up. This one's off, so that one's the same deal though. I can actually tighten this into position more. And first thing I wanna do is make sure these line up, and it looks like that's like dead on. And there again, it has a jam nut, so you can just tighten it down. But I actually need to order 2 hose clamps. So I'll probably just fit this guy for now. Probably fit it on here for now. And then when I get my hose clamps, I'll slide hose clamps on and manipulate that on. If I got to take these off for this tube, I might have to do that. But that's pretty much how the coolant solution fits. It's really nice because it gives you like a lot of room here, and this is going to be our firewall side. So, you know, for obvious reasons, you want to be able to have the most access with your hands, but then also if the engine's physically running into the firewall, then the engine won't physically fit in the car. So by making this lower profile and simplifying it, it also makes it really cool because it gives you all that space right up to something I didn't talk about, but there's like a pump right here, and we're not needed. We're running Motec on this car, so it's just an elimination cap that Science of Speed gives us to just pop that on there. So makes that real easy. Everything's lined up, and we got a ton of room now for the firewall clearance. So they actually give you like this folder, and then I just put like, this is the engine crate, you know, crate motor, quote unquote, and then invoice, and then I have like all the instructions, and then I laid them out because they basically tell you preparation of installation. So they have it in order, more or less. So if you buy every kit from them, which I technically bought every kit except for fuel at the moment, which I might just buy because the price is so decent on it. And then the engine management stuff, like I'm just gonna do all that. I just have them all in order, and it's kind of neat because they're just like so much documentation with pictures. Like every single one of these is like super descriptive of what's going on. So super helpful. So I guess what we do, intake manifold adapter, engine management, which do later, and then the flywheel and clutch stuff, and then the transmission adapter. So you do the flywheel, and then you bolt the clutch onto the flywheel, and then you put the adapter plate on like over the whole assembly. So I guess I could start doing that now. Okay, what do we have on this go round? These are pressure plate hardware, because these are 12 mil, so those are M8s. And then, ooh, this looks like a tool that they made to probably fit in somewhere. So this is literally like a Impact 17 that's been machined down. So that's why it's kind of cool, because they actually like give you everything you need a lot of the times here. And then this is the hardware for the actual flywheel. It's all Honda. It's always nice to see the Honda bags, you know? Because then it's like, you know you're getting the best quality and it's not just like the cheapest part possible or something like that, you know? So this guy's got to be like all cleaned up and it's got to be like super clean. You don't want to install this just as is. You got to like clean it all up so you don't have any of your finger greases or anything like that. But let me see if I could just kind of clean it up and try to mock it up here. Bearing, pilot bearing, pressure plate, throw out bearing, and then the alignment tool. And that's the hat, and this is the disc. I don't really know what I'm going to use to press this pilot bearing in. Drive pilot bearing into the flywheel bore on the clutch side, making sure to only press on the outer race of the bearing. Okay, so I got to press it. So at least I have a press here. That should work. Let's mock this up here. I don't want to hurt anything. I'm gonna have to press on the outer rim of this bearing surface. They don't want you to like press on the inner because then you'd be putting all the load on the bearings. So you gotta like press around the edge of this. So a washer. You guys probably see something in here and you're like, use that, I can see it from here. I'm like, I don't see it. I'm not tall enough to see all this stuff. I feel like this axle nut should press the bearing and not the inner race. Dude, I have so many like dents in my forehead from like using this thing and then going like, oh, what's that? And fucking so many times, dude. Oh my God. My eyes have worked really well for the last 42 years, and it'd be really nice to keep it that way. Feel like that's okay. Shit. It looks kind of crooked in there. It's like a little bit lifted right there on the corner edge. Did not go in straight. I'm gonna find a socket that'll fit that better. That's probably a better solution. I feel like it's sort of more pressure than it needs to sit flush, but it's not perfectly flush. Do you see that? Can you see that it's like not flush? It's got a little bit right there, and then this side's all flush, and then that side's sticking up just a little bit. I don't like that. So it'll go like that. It's pretty cool. All right. Well, kind of a wrap for today. We got a lot done. I need to press a bearing into flywheel, and pretty much we could continue on and getting this engine prepped to go into the S2000 and get me back on the road as a really cool daily driver. Again, thank you, Science of Speed. Shout out to Science of Speed for hooking me up with all these parts. You guys know where to get it, so if you want this, you know where to find them. Peace.